pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome everyone to the Bryan City Council meeting for Monday, April 3rd, 2017. First item on our agenda this evening is to approve the minutes of the March 20th meeting. Council, you have those in front of you.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Tommy?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Next item is the hearing of public concerns. And not seeing anything at this time, we'll move on to item number 3, which is an ordinance. Where would you number and read?
Ordinance number 10, 2017, an ordinance to amend section 733.06 for the application fee for mechanical amusement devices from $10 to $15 annually.
Okay, this ordinance is to be put into place because of the amusement devices that we do have in town. The police chief and I want to see just exactly what we were looking for or looking at. Every year, it takes an officer to go around to these various businesses to find out what the amusement devices are, and then they make an inventory of the numbers that they have, and then my secretary sends a bill out, and the amount of money is garnered from that. The amount of money has been $10 at the present time, and it could be raised no matter what, several dollars, but we're recommending a $5 raise. And what we did find out, there are 68 amusement devices in various towns and throughout the town. There's 2 bars that Mike and I didn't get into because they were closed, and so a police officer went in there at night and found what they are. Now, the gaming devices like your Kinos and things like that, it's run by the state, or your Mega Millions and things like that are not counted as that. Most of the amusement devices we found in a lot of places were like music boxes, jukebox. If you put a coin in, you get to hear a record or something like that. There's quite a few out at Walmart, and that is more kid-oriented, so to speak. In other words, if you go in and make a right just as you go into that store, there's quite a few amusement things in there, and if you put something in there, you're gonna get a stuffed toy or something out of that. They have a bunch of candy machines there that if you put a coin in, you're gonna get candy, but they're all grouped in one, so that only counted as one. Out at the Eagles, they have various games that you play, and then same way at the Moose, they had a pool table in there that you used to have to put a coin in to play pool, but now the coin machine that broke, so they no longer have that. If someone wants to play pool, they go up to the wherever and get their pool balls and shoot them like that. So it was kind of a learning advice for Mike and I to know what amusement devices were, but we found 68. It was pretty much inventoried of what they had before. I think some dropped a couple and some added a couple. Even the dry cleaners, the wash, where you do your washing out there, they have quite a few. While people do the washing, they play games and stuff like that. Quarters can drop down and whatever. So our recommendation is to change it from $10 at this point to $15. I don't think that's gonna break the merchants up, but it does cover a little bit of the money that we have that the officer goes around and checks, and we send the letters out. It took us about an hour and a half. We went the whole town, and we could have gotten in the 2 bars, but they were closed. So that's the ordinance. That's our recommendation.
Is that for each device?
Yes,
Each one is
per
15?
device. Yep.
How does that impact, say, the Jubilee or Day in the Park or anything
We
like
don't,
that?
we don't count any of that.
Okay.
That's on their own, yep. Nothing like that. forget how many the bowling alley had. It seemed like they had 8 or 9 around in that area also. That doesn't include the
I
bowling.
move we suspend.
We hear a second?
I'll second.
Keith?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
I'll second.
Keith?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is a resolution. Lori, please number and read.
Resolution number 9, 2017, a resolution authorizing the Clerk-Treasurer to advertise for bids for the project known as 2017 100 Block East South Street improvements.
Okay, what we're doing is, we're gonna widen out the road a little bit in front of Circle K. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek on our GIS presentation and just do a little hand sketching on a map just to kind of show you. So I'm gonna switch the screens over to the other computer. And basically what we have, I'm gonna zoom in down on Center and, or excuse me, Main and South Street here. As you can see, Circle K, that's the gas can piece of Circle K, right in that particular area. And what we have is, up where this line is right here, that's where the cars currently stop. When a semi tries to come around and make the corner, it can't make the corner because the cars are in the way. So what we wanna do is we want to basically close off part of Circle K's entrance around and curve it south. So basically the vehicles can't leave, and what that will do is it will mark, it'll put the stop bar back at this point, so the vehicles will stop back behind that particular line. And what will end up happening is, when the semi comes around the corner here, the front of the truck can swing its nose up and around and make the trail, make the turn, whereas its back wheels then can follow around the radius itself and make the turn there. So what we're looking at doing is, basically, again, just choking off a little bit of the drive entrance from Circle K and widening it out so the trucks can make the corner. With that, we're gonna replace the water main as well in there, utilities are. I think we've got budgeted around 200,000 for ours, and I forget their estimate, 100, maybe 150,000, somewhere in that range. So, but with that, again, we're gonna widen out the road slightly. We don't have any extra right-of-way to move farther south, so by moving the vehicles back to the east a little bit more, again, it'll give the trucks a little bit more room to turn. So, with that, I would request that you suspend the rules and authorize me to proceed with this. Now, I need to notify Circle K, and I need to work out some logistics with Bryan Metals, because their trucks are gonna have to come in the front entrance there, but we're in the final design stages right now, so we're gonna be working the rest of that out and let them know. We've got a temporary entrance for Little Caesars and for that complex there off of South Walnut Street, so we need to advise them as well that, for 4 to 6 weeks, it's gonna be a little bit of a nightmare in there, but anywhere we have construction, it's gonna be a nightmare, so we'll just buckle down and get it done and move on.
Are you gonna be curbing the south side too?
Yep, we're gonna do curb and gutter that whole first block. What that'll do is it'll set up for next year. We're gonna apply this fall for some Ohio Public Works funding to do the rest of South Street, similar to what we've done on Fountain Grove Drive. So this will set up the first block and get that done, so we'll have a good entrance for the vehicles to come in, and then we won't obstruct the truck traffic that needs to come into Bryan Metals through there throughout that project, because that'll be a much longer project than what this will be.
So the whole block's gonna be curbed?
The whole block is gonna be curb and gutter,
Okay.
all the way through that first 100 block, that's correct.
Is it going to affect the utility poles that
Nope.
are right there?
No.
You'll miss those.
Nope, we're gonna miss the poles, correct. Yeah, that one big one we call it the shark fin, they're standing on the north side, that will not move. No, we're basically keeping the same width. The curbing at the intersection of South Main and South Street actually isn't gonna widen. We're just pulling the cars back farther to the east so the trucks can swing their noses up farther and make the turnaround is all.
Brian, the car that comes out of Circle, or out of the gas station, right next to that pole.
Right.
Will he have to swing out and then around?
Well, see, actually, this parking lot doesn't conform to our zoning requirements right now. Remember we had to have Little Caesars come in and ask for a variance to actually put a driveway within 75 or 100 feet. So what we're doing is we're making this conform more to what our current zoning regulations are, because it's a safety hazard to have a car pull out that close to the intersection. So we're conforming with some newer design standards by choking that off a little bit. And it's not gonna obstruct their semis. Their fuel delivery is clear over on the right-hand side of the screen. You can see them couple little black and gray circles. So it's not gonna affect anything other than the guy in the first pump's just gonna have to drive about 20 feet farther out of his way to get around the island, which I think for safety, he needs to do it anyway. So, but it'll be a good project when it's done.
Now, that curb that's our property, correct?
Correct, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The street
And-
right away, actually, Tommy, is. I'll
Where
highlight
that
it.
where that line
Yeah,
is?
that black line is right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's actually street right away. So everything we're doing is gonna be within the street right away. And it'll actually work out real good.
Do you anticipate any issues in regards to Super K? And if so, what?
I don't anticipate any issues.
Okay.
No, it'll be fine.
So they'll lose in front of Little Caesars, lose all that terrace, basically.
No, the road's gonna widen north just a couple feet right there. That's all gonna stay grass.
Oh, okay.
By the time you get down to that point, the road is somewhat narrowed back down again, back away from the turn lane. When we get a little farther along in this GIS progress, you'll see that I could actually overlay my CAD drawings right into this, and I could click a button and would overlay something pretty rather than my chicken scratches here, so.
The only other question I have is, what's to keep somebody coming out of Circle K from driving over our curb?
Well, if they wanna drive over a 6-inch tall curb with landscaping in it, feel free.
I've seen 'em do it.
That's their problem. Won't be any different than it is on the side entrance there, so
Okay.
it'll be fine. With every little bit of change, there's a learning curve, and I think once we get through that, we'll be fine.
And the people at the south end aren't willing to give up any land.
Well, that's tied into an estate right now, so
Right.
that's not gonna change.
Okay, I make a motion we suspend.
Second. Tommy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes,
Rick?
Yes.
I move to approve.
Second.
Judy?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Next item is another resolution.
Resolution number 10, 2017, a resolution authorizing the Clerk-Treasurer to advertise for bids for the project known as 2017 Turn Lane on Center Street at Townline Road.
Basically, this is a project that was requested last year by the school system, and it's been needed to with the increased traffic that's there. What we want to do is we want to add a center turn lane. Now, if you're all familiar, this is Townline Road through here, and then this other road through here is Center Street, be the church on the north side of the road. What we want to do is heading westbound out of town, the first lane is going to stay, and that's going to be straight west traffic. The middle lane, which is actually the eastbound lane, is going to turn into a left turn lane. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll add a third lane of traffic for the cars that are coming into town. And I'm not drawing a very straight line, but we're adding a third lane right in through there. So basically, we're only gonna add asphalt right in that particular area, right there. So the vehicles that are coming into town can actually utilize that. Now, we've actually got a CAD drawing here that shows it a little bit nicer. It's not quite rotated the same angle, but you can see the traffic as they're leaving town. And then what used to be the traffic coming into town is now gonna be a left turn lane that's gonna be able to turn south onto Townline Road. And then this blue shaded area here is actually where the vehicles will be coming into town and will be able to head eastbound in through there. And there's plenty of room. The guardrail back here at the bridge on the west side of Townline is already widened out enough. It's slowed down to a 35-mile-an-hour zone, so there should be no problem with the traffic making their way through there to do that. So it's I think $75,000 to $100,000 for the pavement, and we have to change traffic signals. We need to move a traffic signal pole and traffic control cabinet, which are actually underneath this little turn here. So we actually have to pull them back out of the way a little bit to make that happen. So this is gonna be constructed, we wanna construct it June and July when school's closed. So the traffic will be a little bit to a minimum down there, and it shouldn't affect any construction traffic at the school either. Because I think we can maintain at least one lane of traffic throughout here other than when we're striping, because all the work is gonna be done off to the side of the road. We will have to make this intersection a 4-way stop for probably 2 or 3 weeks while we're taking down traffic poles and taking down traffic lights and moving on. I thought about making it just a 2-way, but that still scares me a little bit because there's not good vision with people coming up over the hill at Center Street. So we'll signage it real good and just temporarily make it a four-way stop for that time frame, and hopefully people will learn and it shouldn't be an issue. But we will have a green left turn arrow for these people that are heading west to turn south on a Townline road.
Now, it looks like you start the split actually west of that
A
intersection.
little bit, there's a little bit of work
To
we need
try to
do.
get-
Yep.
There's plenty of room there.
Right,
to
yeah, the
take-
guardrail's already, it was ironic, the guardrail was already flared off and widening as if it was anticipating something like this, because Andy and I couldn't believe it fit perfect.
Good.
So we're real satisfied with that. So with that, I would request you suspend the rules and authorize me to go ahead with this.
Estimated cost.
I think 75 to 100,000 for the asphalt, and the traffic signals will probably be another 50 or so. So we're gonna be in the $150,000 range to take care of that.
And to widen that?
Yeah, yeah, that's all.
Where is the right-of-way on the Combs property?
On the south side,
Yeah,
this one right here.
okay.
Because if you remember, the road used to actually go through
Yeah,
there. There's actually some township right of way in there as well. It's a strip of city and then a strip of township and then some actual property in there. So I think this area in here is actually the township right of way between these two lines there.
Okay, so that goes pretty close to their actual house then?
Correct, yeah.
What is the anticipated commencement?
June 1st. Well, after school's out, probably June 10th. Yeah. We want to construct it over the summer while school is closed.
Whereabouts does that approach for the left turn start approximately?
It's
There
probably
used to be a-
300 feet from the intersection. I guess I can zoom out here and you can see the split for the road, where the old road actually goes through, is right about in this general area there, where the pavement still goes back to their driveway, so that's about where the transition is gonna start and stop. So I guess I can zoom back out there and show you the whole area, little city view there. But that would be the project to its entirety. It's about 250 feet of turn lane, so about 300 feet of widened road.
Brian, you might be the wrong person to ask, but when the levy went through, there was some money set aside for
They
these kind of
utilize a fair amount
improvements?
of that on Fountain Grove Drive, taking care of their center turn lane there. I
Okay.
think they've expensed all of that, but if they haven't, I'm gonna make a call and see if there's any funds available. Last I talked to Tom Lingby from the board, he didn't think there was any left, but I'll still verify that and follow up.
Okay,
Because I know there was a chunk that they had to use for off-site
Right.
improvements.
Yeah,
I
there
think it
was a
gobbles up
percentage
between
of
the
it.
two turn lanes that were left there.
okay.
Is there a left turn lane coming from the west?
No, no need for it, there's not that much
There's
traffic to
no
turn
need.
north, so it's not required.
Yeah.
I know.
There's two projects.
Any other discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to suspend.
I'll second.
Pete?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes,
Rick?
Yes.
move to approve.
Second?
Carrie?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr.
Thank
Wheeler.
you. Next item is a resolution. Lori, please number and read.
Resolution number 11, 2017, a resolution strongly opposing the section of Ohio Governor's proposed 2017-2018 budget, which proposes centralized collection of net profit tax returns and other provisions related to the municipal income tax, which will cause a substantial loss of revenue needed to support the health, safety, and welfare and economic development efforts of Ohio municipalities such as Bryan, and declaring an emergency.
As council asked last meeting, several communities, quite a few communities now have passed this resolution opposing the centralized collection of the business tax to Columbus. One thing is another infringement on home rule. The other thing is that 1%, taking 1% of that administrating fee and then sending it back to us on a quarterly basis is gonna upset our budgeting program where we rely on money monthly, back and forth. It's just not a good plan, and I think if you've been following the Ohio Municipal League and all the opposition to that. There is quite a bit of opposition, but there are some individuals, or mainly the people that do some taxes and so forth, are for this bill. So I don't know how it's really gonna shake out, but you asked that we pass this resolution and join the others, and I would get that to both our representatives in Columbus and also directly to Governor Kasich's office.
I move we suspend.
Second.
Keith,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes, and just a comment there, I'm glad we've got this put together.
Thank
Go
you.
down there, you know.
Judy,
Yes,
and Rick.
Yes.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Judy,
Yes,
Keith,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Excuse me, before we go any farther, Brian, where's this money coming from for this Townline, 0.5%?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is an appointment. Mayor?
Yeah, each year, in about April, they have, or end of March or April, the Health Advisory Board, District Advisory Council meet, and they have their annual meeting, and they ask for representatives from the various areas to be appointed on 5-year terms to represent various parts of the county. And I think Dawn is here now. She's also she's on this health board that is there. But anyhow, this year they met at 7:30 in the morning out at Center Township Building, and they had different people be appointed to the board, and they also had received a resignation from the board who was serving the city of Bryan, Dr. Seaman. And after talking with, going through the process of the board, they were going to appoint Dr. Anselm Tintino. He's a new doctor in town, but he was going to take Dr. Seaman's place, who was Bryan's representative. Well, they found out that Dr. Tintino lives in the Center Pulaski Township, so they needed somebody for their 5-year representative. And the one that they were going to have for us was the Mr. Stallings. I guess I'm saying that right. He's works for Judge Byrd. He's an attorney, so my recommendation was then that Jerry Stallings be appointed to Williams County Combined Board for the city for the 5 years, and they took care of this Dr. Tintino for Center Pulaski. Their group took care of that. So that left us blank. We had no one to represent at that point, but my recommendation is Jerry Stallings to be appointed to the Williams County Combined Board of Health, representing the city of Bryan. And he's an attorney. So they'll have an attorney on the board.
I will motion to approve that with thanks to Dr. Glenn Seaman for his years of service on the board.
I'll second that.
Carrie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Judy,
yes,
Rick.
Yes. Next item is some hirings. Mr. Engstrom.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight I'm asking your approval to rehire Jerry Lemons and Bill Doherty as seasonal employees for the cemetery.
About 30 hours a week?
Sometimes 40.
Yeah, okay,
In the spring, it's usually at least 40.
gotcha.
Well, they don't go over 40, so, yeah.
They go
Between-
until, like, maybe September or so, October?
October.
Yeah, okay.
I might say that since we've had those two individuals and along with another individual, we've had very little complaints of the cemetery, and along with Tyson's group that go out there, but they've done a nice job and they know what they're doing. There's a lot of hand trimming you don't see them doing.
Yeah.
They're covered with grass, so forth out there.
I motion to approve that with thanks because I agree the cemetery looks very nice.
I'll second that.
Carrie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Judy,
yes.
Rick.
Yes.
And along with that, Tyson, we should tell them to get the cemetery cleaned up, right?
As soon as it dries up a little bit.
Remove the old flowers and we'll get the new ones going.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, we have a new item that's gone on the agenda. Police dispatcher resignation.
So just take a second.
Council, I have two things here. The first one is resignation by Angie Davis. She is a part-time dispatcher for the police fire department. Her last day will be April 12th, 2017. I just ask council to accept her resignation.
I will approve that with regrets.
Second.
Judy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
And the second thing is I'm asking permission, council, to give a civil service test for the position of police fire dispatcher for the city of Bryan. The last civil service test we gave was November 22nd, 2014. They're good for 2 years, so that one has expired. We do like to keep the list updated because it's quite a lengthy process from start to finish to get somebody qualified for that position, so we like to keep that updated.
It takes kind of, didn't we say 12 weeks to get a working, 12 weeks?
Well, for the civil service, you have to advertise for like 30 days, then give the test, do the pretty lengthy background check, and then once a person is hired, they go through a 12-week training process. So it's quite a lengthy 6-7 months you're looking at from start to finish.
So if we'd have a full-time leave, we'd be in some trouble, and we need to get the part-time. You still had some part-time individuals on the list.
We still have a list up there for part-time individuals
Part-time, okay.
that we're looking through.
So we need to get moving on that and get some people lined up in case we have any vacancies there.
I move we approve this permission.
I'll second.
Keith?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Our next item is GIS presentation. Mr. Wieland and Mr. Gardner.
Okay. Yes, those of you that don't know Nathan Gardner, he's the engineering supervisor at Bryan Municipal Utilities. For the past few years, he's been working at helping us consolidate data, and as you know, Dawn and Andy have been working, actually Dawn's been working for years on the mapping and some attributes and tagging different things, and for the last few years, we've been working together on getting one big map that both of us can use, and I think Nathan's just gonna quickly go through some of the basic information, then maybe a little more detailed information that we have, and we'll follow up at the end with a few more statements on how and where we use this. So, Nathan?
Good evening, and thanks for inviting me. It's gonna be informal because it's unrehearsed, so hopefully we can, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But, what is GIS? People have heard that terminology. It's a geographic information system. It's basically a mapping system. So it takes information and it's put in spatially. Years ago and today, I guess, this is the map in the engineering office. It's their sewer map. So it's a schematic map. So in reality, you don't know if a sewer is on this side of the road or that side of the road, down the middle of a road. It's just put in there and scaled and drawn. But today, luckily we use GPS, and that's the same kind of thing that you use in your car, but it's much more accurate. It's probably sub-meter accuracy. Sometimes you can, inches. So in the wintertime, you're able to find things. It's just so much, it's the way the world's going. It's just a way more accurate system than a schematic map. And also when you change or do updates on a schematic map, it's 5 or 6 feet. Who wants to tear that down and do an update and reprint another one, hang it on the wall? It's It's a vicious circle.
Yeah, when was our last print on that, Andy? Or Dawn, it was before I got here. It's probably been 15 years since we've updated that map on the wall. So here we're up to the minute, and here we're up to 15 years is what we used to be, so.
So this stuff's updated, you know, almost continuously, you know, it's not instantaneous, but it really doesn't need to be. I mean, so I'm just gonna go through and we all maintain parts of this map that we're kind of sharing right now. And Williams County, of course, is where we get our base map, and what we call base map is the parcels, which is, you know, who owns what property, you know, a lot of the right-of-ways, some of the street files, a lot of that's gotten, and we try to get information from them every 3 months or so, try to get the updated parcels of who owns them and that type of thing. So it doesn't change hands, but it's enough to get us to what we need. And next you see down here, of course, I can kind of maybe show you underneath it. They have township halls, town halls, libraries, fire stations, police stations, and this is all Williams County that I'm talking about. So landmarks, schools, airports, I mean, these are all layers within our map that we use. And then next we have city engineering. I kind of separated it, and they do, let's just say, the wards and precincts. So it's really multiple maps in one. So I mean, if you wanted to see what wards there were, you can kind of turn on this, and it would show you the different wards of the city. You can see, and there's a little legend underneath it here too that kind of helps you with the colors. But they're also labeled. So if you wanted to print that off, you could print that off. Or if you wanted to zoom in and see what ward somebody was in, you could. I keep this open on my desk all the time for different reasons, you know, than what maybe city engineering would. But I mean, I answer questions all the time. Phone call comes in, somebody asks me a question, as they're talking to me, I find out where they live, I'm zooming in, getting to their house. I'm looking at fences in their yards and where their water service is, where their electric service is, communication, and all those things. And a lot of times, by the time they're done talking to me, they're really amazed that I'm answering questions. They're wondering like, wow, this guy must really know this city to know what's going on in my yard and everything around me. But I mean, you get down in there and it's a great tool, you know, for working with the public to be able to answer questions. So the more people's hands we get this in, I think the better we will be, because we're all in the customer service business. So that's kind of a ward map. We also have a precinct map. I'm just gonna kind of go down just to give you an idea of what it is. You know, same thing, pretty similar. You know, city engineering maintains all these files. This one, I tell you, I would use this a lot, like subdivision plats and surveys. It's amazing that, you know, there's all the subdivisions in town, and if you turn them on, there's a lot of them that I know, but there's a lot of ones that are interesting that I really don't know. And this is always, you know, good to be able to see. And so it's pretty busy, but if you zoom in, what is really interesting as far as like, we do a lot of projects, and so therefore, the research of projects that we have, the city engineering basically went through, and I'm going to see if I can get lucky here and find one that has something. But so I click on this edition, and boom, the plat pulls up. So instead of for research purposes to find out, oh, okay, we got maybe a, you know, this one of course doesn't, but a lot of them you'll see this one's got a 10-foot utility easement, a 5-foot utility easement, you know, the size of lots, that, you know, it tells you a lot of things. So it's great for researching stuff like that. And then it also has surveys, so there's a lot of surveys on here too. So these little dots are surveys. So if you want to click on something, and I'm just randomly selecting things and hoping there's stuff there, but there you go. I mean, there's a plat of survey, and there's individual surveys of people's properties on here too. So you can see the wealth of information that's here and how it would cut down a project when you're doing a project. And I say this before, I said it, but I mean, projects that used to take months, you know, maybe to do, and, you know, and maybe you can do it in weeks now, because it doesn't substitute you from going out there and verifying all this information, but it allows you to get a good start on your project when you're doing it. So we'll move on to like truck routes. Contractors are in town all the time, and you want to give them information on where they can and they can't drive, you know, so that you could physically print a map off for them. And I don't know why that may not showing up. Maybe
Bookmark out.
move out. So you can see that. So you could just go over and print this map off and give it to them and say, you know, you can go down Wilson to Union and use that as your truck route, or it will find the closest one to it. So it's a handy little, you know, tool to have and to maintain. So let's turn these off. And of course, trash pickup is another one. If you want to see when somebody's weekly trash pickup was or monthly trash pickup, it's there. So all these maps are built into one. You're not sitting there and, you know, having multiple maps on a wall. So if a customer's calling you and you wanna know, you know, when's my trash pickup, you can zoom in on this fairly quickly and, you know, tell them it's the third Tuesday of the month. Or, you know, or there's their weekly one, and of course, I mean, it's a handy little thing to have. And then you could actually, over here, if you go down here and click this, and you wanna print this map off, it self-generates a little page that's 8.5 by 11 that you can print off and hand to somebody. Here you go, here's your map. So, I mean, you can very easily create any type of map you want. And this one is amazing.
Yes.
Because we used to do a water project, let's say, and I would always have to go out, and I still do, don't get me wrong, it doesn't stop me from doing it, but I would go out, pop the manhole lids, measure down, get directions and stuff like that, which very time consuming. I mean, it was very time consuming. So I'm just gonna randomly come in here, because if I turn the whole thing on, it would just go crazy, but. So there's all of the, which I'm very proud of these guys. This is amazing, you know, that they have come so far, so fast. And, you know, you talk about helping somebody and teaching somebody how to fish, they just went crazy with this, and it's come back to help me 100-fold, because I use this, you know, as far as their sewers and information, just, you know, all the time. I mean, if you click on something, there's, of course, there's gonna be something that doesn't have something, but there you go, you click on that one, and instead of digging through all these file cabinets that they have, boom, there's the
There's the
actual
plans.
drawings and plans that, you know, the plan and profile for when they did that project, and they're all over, so no matter where I click, whatever they have is probably tied to that. I mean, we have the same thing with our water line, so therefore, I hope it's useful to them, that when they click on the water line and wanna see the as-built for it, or how it was built, where exactly it was, what they ran into when they were doing the project, it's all there for them.
Okay, so, excuse me, so explain to me what I'm looking at here. It looks like, is the green sewers or?
Green is
what's the
sanitary
red?
sewer and the purple is the storm sewer.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, and I can kinda maybe show you what the lines are.
And then I wanted to, then what was the red things, hydrants?
No, I don't think so.
Catch basins.
Those are-
Catch basins.
Yeah, those are catch basins. The
Oh,
magenta
okay.
color is the catch basins, and that's the storm sewer. And you can see that, like right there, that's saying that's a 12-inch storm sewer, or, let's say 15-inch storm sewer. And so it's all like labeled right there.
And you can even see down 703 there in the middle of your screen there, there's actually a sanitary tap, that if he were to click on the sanitary tap just to the left there a little bit, if that person called and wanted to know where their tap was, boom, we can click right on it, and up comes their tap card.
Yeah.
And it shows their house number, and it shows the tap card that's actually there. So,
Okay, so where's the tap at?
If I zoom out here a little
yeah,
bit.
scroll up a little bit. It's kind of touchy on that screen. It tells you it's, what, 28, is that, or how many feet is that? 300, I can't read that distance. It's a certain distance down from 381 feet from a manhole, and it's 9 3/4 feet deep. And
Okay.
the street department actually has 2 of these computers in their trucks as well. So if the on-call guy comes in and they've got a problem, he can open it up, look at it, see the tap card, see the sanitary drawings, you know, try and determine where a problem is at. I know Tyson's got one in his truck, and it's a useful tool for him. You know, like Nate will tell you later, he says that this is not a substitution for calling Ohio Utilities Protection Service to get a locate in. But if there is a water main break and we're waiting that hour for utilities to show up and locate everything, we can at least turn everything on, in which he'll show you the communications and electric as things go on here. You know, I'm sure he'll zoom in a block and just show you what all's there. It just gives them a chance to kind of pre-plan and get their game plan for, okay, well, you know, there's a gas line 2 feet away from us. What are we going to do? You know, all right, let's get some trench boxes. Let's get what we need to do. So, you know, it helps out the guys in the field more than anything. You know, and I think that you guys have several of these computers on your mobile trucks as well, I think, as well. Right.
And another thing it helps for is, like, I think, the street department uses them for locating too. They probably have they used to use roll-up paper maps, I'm assuming.
That 5x10 map that we have, they've got several of them rolled up.
Right, they roll those out and they go out, you know, for a locate, where they have to go out and locate for, you know, oops or something, and now they have this, you know, they're moving around, and it's a lot easier, you know, especially the older you get, you can, you know, when you zoom in, you can see a map you can't really zoom your eyes on, so it helps them out, you know, holding a paper map and wind's blowing, you know, but you got something like this you can zoom right in on. And of course, yeah, and I don't even have the aerial image returned on. It really helps you, you know, understand and see where you're at.
Where is like, underground type stuff that. where
That
do you
is all
find
the
that?
underground. That's the underground sanitary, the
Yeah, but
underground
I
storm.
mean, I'm talking about like a cable, a gas line.
He's
all
getting
that.
to it.
Okay.
That's, if I turn it all off once, it'll just kind of blow your mind here, but I'm gonna ease it into it a little
Okay.
bit.
Leave the sanitary on, just throw them all on there.
Well, like if we get into some, let's find something with some rear easement so we can maybe see, I don't know.
East Village, at Greystone, that's true.
Yeah. But you can see, that's everything that they physically went out and GPS, all these manholes, catch basins, those are exactly where they are within inches. And even the elevations of the top of the manhole, like 739, 51, that elevation is probably plus or minus as close as anything you're gonna get. It's almost survey grade.
Yeah, we can ballpark do a rough design without going out in the field anymore, just to see if a project is gonna be doable or not, just by the information that we have here. And we can look at the water lines that they have and see if we're gonna have conflicts with crossings there. You know, it used to be, we'd meet and we'd go over stuff, we'd draw, I'd kick it back to them, they'd change it, we'd change something, and it's eliminated a lot of that.
So you can see those little things right there are actual taps. And I used to, when I do a project together, I would email down here or call and say, hey, I'm doing this block to this block, could you send me all those tap cards? And they'd have to print them off or PDF them and send them to me, you know, and you'd have to go through and then you draw them on here. Well, they're already drawn, you know, they're right here. So, I mean, all the tap cards are right here, we just click on them, pull them up, and we have all that information available. So then we get down here, we wanna know where maybe the communications are. And I'll drop this down, but we got our nodes and our fiber vaults and PEDs and fiber underground and all that type of stuff. Refresh it.
I don't know why that didn't come up.
Hopefully it'll
There
show
you
up.
go.
But you can see these are like PEDs, like communication PEDs for TV, and this is our hard line, and this is the cable TV that it actually feeds these houses. These are schematic, but it just shows us that this PED feeds these houses that they're actually tied to. So we have all that information and where they go, and this is all in, I think we even have easements on here somewhere.
There is, yeah, 2 down, 3 down, yep.
So we can turn that on, and we can see that we do have, you know, an easement back here, which is right here. So if I clicked on that easement, hopefully it has information, and it's gonna pull up the plat, and it's gonna show me every place that there's an easement. And you can see we have the easements in the backyard, so we have, you know, verification that we're within our utility easement. We can go to electric, of course, we got electric, this is really gonna get crowded back here, you're gonna see how crowded our rear easements are getting. You see the red dotted line is underground electric. I'll kinda
Yeah, zoom right in on that back lot there.
so you can see a little better. You can see this is a transformer, this is the electric underground,
About a foot away from the sewer, mind you.
right? And the electric, you know, comes down here, feeds the secondary PED, and then, of course, the electric service feeds that house, so that's all on there. What else we got? And, of course, the water's gonna be out front in this, East Village subdivision. If I turn the water on just to kinda show you. And you'll see that hydrants and valves and meters, and I'll kinda zoom in on that because we're a little bit far out, but, just zoom in on an area. Just to show. And these are the actual water meters right here, so what's great about this, and this is something I think I showed my last time I met, but when there's snow on the ground and these water meters, and let's just say that their house is leaking inside their house, and they can't find their shut off. I've had customer service call me, and they would have to go out there, and he's digging all over the place trying to find this shut off, and I can physically measure, you know, use the measuring tool to come over here, because every one of these have been shot, you know, thousands of them, you know. So, I mean, I can measure off of here and then measure off the back of the curb. He can go right there, lift the lid, and get them shut off. So it's happened, we've done that before. Or even sometimes here's a draw, oh, that's the wrong drawing, but if I click on a meter, I mean, any drawings we have, kind of like their tap cards that they have for sanitary, we have the same thing for water. So, of course, there's nothing on that, we don't have drawings on every single home, but the ones we do are attached, so we don't have to dig through file cabinets. So if somebody's talking to me, whatever we have is right here, I don't have to dig through a lot of file.
It used to be run from one cabinet and grab another map, grab a book, grab this, and we had stuff laid all over the place, and now it's click, 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 here we are.
Yeah, so, and you guys have scanned so many things also. I mean, everything that you've got here is attached, has been scanned, so, I mean, that's a lot of information. So, here's just, you know, something.
Well, that electric meter, yeah, I was gonna ask you to
Yeah,
show
there's an
that.
electric meter that,
Is not a picture on it. You're just getting the drop there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Meter on the.
We actually have a picture of the meter in there as
So
well.
there's a picture of the meter, and then we even have pictures of to make sure,
Oh, wow.
what they are, and, of course, they're not live shots, we don't wanna scare anybody. But we can, see that they're, compliant to, today's standards of our meters and stuff like that, and if they need anything, so even the underground services, if there's stuff that's tied to them, those are also, there. And some of these are old drawings, but they're all scanned, and a lot of them are still that way, so it shows the utilities that these are old drawings that we would use to dig through our drawers to find stuff, and, there's the property ownership, I don't wanna, but you can click on here, this is all public information, the same thing you can get from the auditor's, office as far as property ownership, who owns it, and stuff like that, so, all that stuff helps out.
Purple is the, storm sewers, right?
Correct.
And that shows on there quite a few houses that are tapped into the storm sewers.
We don't have a lot, correct, a lot of them aren't, and some of the taps aren't shown, because there's a lot of sanitary taps that are not shown on there as well. Either we don't have information, or we're still in the process of tagging that information to those lots. But yeah, you're correct, I'd say 15%, 20% are tied to the storm sewer in the whole town, maybe? Maybe. Right, most of them just surface discharge into their lawn and go over land, so very few are actually connected to the storm sewer.
And we also have like communications in Montpelier, so if I want to zoom to Montpelier and I can turn on different things there, and if you want to go to Holiday City, you can zoom up there, West Unity. And this is an actual free viewer, and you can see how kind of snappy it is, and, to have these on laptops, and it actually is.
You have communications through West Unity there, don't you? Click on your communication there, I think, don't you have fiber running down the rails and trails?
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to the
Yeah.
hospitals and stuff
Yep.
like that, and you can see there's a.
Node behind the school.
Yeah.
Can you go to our new, area out there?
The new industrial park?
Yeah,
Sure.
see what,
Go bookmark and Bryan, and we can zoom out to our new industrial park out here, and turn on ortho.
And somebody wants to see where the sewer and water is, we can click on the sewer and water and communications. I mean, you can click on about everything there that you need.
Yeah, but you can see the new water line that's right here with all the valves, you can see the
Yep.
the sewer is right there.
And Nate could click print and make a map for somebody, a client that comes in and wants to buy a lot, he could zoom right in on it and print it right out, and we could give them a paper copy right in their hand in 2 minutes with everything they need.
Yeah, and you could just, pretty much gives you all the information. Some of your old mark up there.
Yeah.
But any questions anybody has, or?
I mean, it's still a work in progress. It's been a long work in progress, but, I mean, I want to thank Dawn and Andy for everything they've done. I mean, especially Dawn, she's worked for years and years on compiling data, and it seems like every time I want something new, she's got to change up a little bit and add a few more things to it, and I got to credit Andy with the sanitary manholes. He went nuts one summer and just went out and tied everything in, and it's just amazing how much information we have now that we use in our office, and the utilities use in their office, and the water crew and the sewer crew and just everybody. And it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And like I said, when I come in here to ask for a project to be bid, probably the next time I'll do the same thing. I'll turn on the computer and I'll actually have the CAD drawings blown in there, or I won't actually have to sketch on there. Maybe I could sketch the turning radius or something that the semi's doing, but it's just going to be a lot clearer for you guys to understand what we're doing, and you actually get a visualization of it rather than me just standing here saying this is what we're going to do. So, but it's a good tool.
I think it's excellent. I'm
Yeah,
sure you know with my real estate, like I
I-
love this, I want my own, but.
At some point in time, I know I would love to have some of this public information. I don't want a lot public
Yeah.
information, but, like as far as like your wards, your precincts, your trash pickup, things like that, I would like to have as public information. I would like to, at some point in time, for consultants that work for us, like DGL and Associates or Bell Engineering, or somebody that might be working on a lot in the industrial park, designing a lot for them, I'd like to say, hey, here's a link to our GIS and mapping, here's a username and password so you can get in and use what you need. And then in a month I can delete that username. It's just a goal, something I would like to get to, because again, when they're calling, we're scanning, we're emailing, and it's just so much simpler just to say, here, click, go here, and just like our codified ordinances are all online. Rhonda can say, reference this chapter, and they go to it and look. So, you know, it kind of falls along that same avenue.
Brian,
So-
you had that there, can you show that park, that new street we're putting through the park?
No, we canceled that project. No, I'm joking.
After you took out all the
What,
trees, you were like.
Garver Park, is that what you
Yeah,
wanted, or
yeah.
Rec Park?
Mayberry?
Mayberry Drive, yeah, behind the Y.
You had that the other day.
Yeah, that was one thing where, oh, you zoomed way out there, didn't you? You know, had I had this as well, when we were asking for permission to bid that, I could have shown you right on that map, you know, we're going from this point to this point, and I could have highlighted it all with a circle and cleaned it all up for you.
I think you were, let you talk about it, but we've talked about it, I think it's starting up here.
Yep, starting up
Yeah.
there, yep, and it runs on down past the Y Drive entrance and terminates right about in there. So just so you guys can get an idea where that project actually starts and ends. So, yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to stop up my office or give Nate a call, talk to Dawn, talk to Andrew. And we've got all the information available for you, and we'd love to share that. We're working on having, I know Lori's got an area in her office that they refer to this and they use it quite frequently, and we're gonna have, at some point in time, the same thing, just have a small computer and a monitor in there that if we do have a consultant come in, we wanna just have them point where, we have contractors come in and say, hey, where's the storm tap? Where's the sanitary tap for this lot? Well, it'll be simple, just a click, 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 print, here you go, be on your way, thank you. Need anything else, give us a call, so. But if there are any other questions, we appreciate the time, and we'd love to have you stop up and take a look at it sometime.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. And I really love to BMU and the city of Bryan, when you guys all work together. I think it's just great for our customer relations because we are here for the citizens. So I appreciate that very much.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And thank all of you for all the work you've put into doing that. That's a fabulous tool for the city. Okay. At this point, that's all of the agenda items that I have so far. Going around the room, Chief Willis, anything? Mr. Waterstone, anything from you? Mr. Whelan, anything further? From the fire department, Mr. Poole? Streets? Mr. Day?
Could be either.
Mr. Moore?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Mrs. Jarvis?
Nope.
Anything? Lori?
No, sir.
Mayor?
I always have things.
Oh, it's
He always has
That's
things.
right.
Good Friday's coming up. The City of Bryan will pick up garbage on Friday, April 14th. City of Bryan offices will be closed on Friday, April 14th, in observance of Good Friday. Also, something else that's going to go on, let me see if I can pick this up. The hospital is having a special thing with the Franklin County Sheriff Office. It's a drug seminar. It's on April 18th. It's 8 to noon and 1:30 to 5:30. You do have to call up there and get information. You can get a register to go to that, but that's a good seminar that they're putting on, and it's being held right here at our local hospital. And then finally, our annual Easter egg hunt is at the old high school gym this Saturday at 10 o'clock, and that's up to 9 years old. Birth up to 9 years old. So we'll be there at 10 o'clock, and Easter Rabbit will be there, and
So is it gonna be inside or outside?
inside the gym.
Inside,
The old-
okay,
The old
okay.
high school gym, the last
Oh.
Easter egg hunt in there, yeah. Other years, we've had a lot of places. It's been at the middle school, but we're going up to the old high school gym this year.
Which is now called Portland Street
Portland
Campus for
Street
now, right?
Campus, yep. Saturday at 10 o'clock. So, that is it.
The only thing that I have, having introduced this Operation Street Smart, I would encourage anybody who has a child should attend this. I have seen this presentation twice. It is riveting. It is 4 hours, but it is riveting. You would take another 4 hours of it. It's amazing the things that these people present as far as ways that drugs are hidden, what is out there, and they are very, very informative, and it is an absolutely terrific presentation. So I encourage anyone to take a look at this. Other than that, I have nothing further. At this time, we will take a brief recess, and then we'll be going into executive session for compensation of personnel. Thank you all for coming.